They say money doesn't bring happiness, but who hasn't felt more at ease when their pockets were full? The truth is, behind this oft-repeated phrase lies a silent struggle between faith and financial security. After all, does God really want us to live with nothing? Or is there a hidden secret in Jesus' words about the true meaning of wealth? Pause and reflect. How many times have you believed that achieving something, a house, a car, a raise, would finally make you feel complete, and yet something was still missing? This is where Jesus' teaching becomes revolutionary, because he doesn't just talk about money, but about the human heart. Today's video will show that true wealth isn't in your hands, but in your soul, and that the Chosen One teaches a path that transforms how we see everything we have and everything we are. You'll understand why Jesus doesn't condemn prosperity, but completely redefines what it means to be prosperous. You'll discover that faith is the key to living God's abundance without becoming a slave to possessions. This content isn't just a reflection, it's an invitation to a life-changing shift, a new way of seeing the value of what truly matters. It's curious how humans spend much of their lives trying to secure something they ultimately can't take with them. Houses, cars, status, it all seems important until life shows how fleeting it all is. Jesus, with his simple and direct wisdom, warns us. The problem isn't having, but living to have. When the mind becomes a vault, the heart becomes a prisoner. And the irony? The more you accumulate, the more you fear losing. The Chosen One reveals that seeking security in things is like trying to hold the wind. The harder you try, the more it slips through your fingers. But there's another kind of treasure, invisible, yet eternal. It's built in the dimension of faith, where what matters isn't how much you have, but how much you trust. Jesus teaches that true treasures don't rust, don't break, and can't be stolen. They grow in the soul, bloom in generosity, and shine in the peace of those who place their hope in God. When someone grasps this, something changes within them. Money stops being the master and becomes a tool. It's in this shift that the path to true prosperity begins, leading to the next understanding. Believing that money brings control is like building a house on sand. One wave and it all collapses. Jesus doesn't speak of poverty as a virtue, but of freedom as a choice. He knows that the greatest prison has no bars, it's the fear of losing what you have. Many become slaves to their own success, too preoccupied with their bank balance and too little with the health of their soul. Yet faith in God frees you from this cycle of anxiety. Those who trust in the Creator understand that true security comes from what money can't buy: peace, purpose, and divine presence. When the heart finds rest in faith, the need to prove something to the world vanishes. You start working with joy, not vanity, achieving, not out of lack, sharing, not out of obligation. Jesus shows that the secret isn't denying possessions, but transforming them into bridges, not walls. When your gaze rises above the material, your spirit begins to see life with new eyes, and that's precisely where the realization dawns that there's another kind of wealth, more enduring and radiant, the heavenly treasures he spoke of so often. There's a wealth that isn't measured in coins, but in meaning. Jesus invites each person to invest in something that neither time nor moths nor corruption can destroy. He speaks of a treasure that grows in the invisible, in love, faith, and compassion that transform the human heart. The kingdom of God, according to the Master, isn't a distant place but a reality that begins when you live with purpose. Those who learn to see the world through the lens of eternity discover that true abundance lies in being, not having. Living according to the kingdom means understanding that life's value isn't in the sum of your achievements, but in the quality of your intentions. It's helping without expecting reward, serving without applause, smiling even when something's missing. Each such act is an investment in God's eternal vault. It's like planting seeds that bloom into peace, hope, and light. And the more you plant, the more your heart expands. It's in this fertile soil of generosity that Christ teaches us the next step: how to consciously and practically accumulate treasures that never fade. The secret to amassing heavenly treasures isn't in how much you give, but in how much you surrender. Jesus shows that the greatest investment is in people's hearts. Every act of kindness, every forgiveness offered, every comforting word, These are spiritual deposits. When someone shares the little they have, they move the entire heavens in their favor. It's the kind of investment that never loses value, because the more you give, the more you receive in peace and purpose. God transforms every act of love into eternity. And this generosity isn't just about giving money, it's about giving time, listening, presence, attention. It's visiting someone in need, offering a meal, sharing a smile. These are simple acts that ignite the divine light within us. When someone lives this way, no void can consume them, because their life becomes a channel for God's love. And in this constant flow of giving and receiving, the heart learns a profound lesson. The tension between accumulating and being generous isn't a dilemma. It's an invitation to grow. At some point, everyone wonders, how can I be generous without risking everything? Jesus understands this human concern. He never condemned those who have, but always observed how they handle what they possess. The truth is, it's not money that rules the heart, it's attachment to it. When the focus is on accumulating out of fear, the soul shuts down. But when the intent is to bless, the same resource becomes a divine bridge. Generosity creates space for God's love to flow, streaming from a trusting and free heart. Being prudent isn't the same as being stingy. Jesus wants us to learn to use possessions wisely, to invest in what generates life, to support those in need, to share what makes a difference. A professional can use their talents to bless others. A family can donate time, not just goods. What matters is the spirit behind it. The Chosen One doesn't ask us to be reckless, but to be faithful stewards of what we've received. In this conscious surrender, the heart reveals where its true treasure lies, and here, Jesus deepens the lesson even further. Jesus' gaze pierces appearances and goes straight to the heart of the matter, the heart itself. He makes us reflect on what truly governs our choices. If everything we do revolves around security, status, and recognition, our treasure is misplaced. But if the impulse is to serve, love, and trust, the heart is aligned with heaven. It's simple yet profound. Our priorities reveal what we worship. There's no middle ground. Either love for God occupies the throne or love for things silently takes its place. When someone decides to realign their heart, everything in life begins to change. Worries lose their weight, fears diminish, and joy springs forth effortlessly. Attachment gives way to lightness, and the person realizes that living is about what you share, not what you accumulate. It's as if God Himself reorganizes the soul, restoring meaning to the simple things. From there, the gaze becomes purer, the soul clearer. A transformation Jesus poetically captures when speaking of the eyes as the lamp of the body, the next great revelation He offers us. Jesus had a unique way of turning the simple into revelation. When He said, "The eyes are the lamp of the body," He was showing us something far greater than a metaphor. The gaze reflects the soul. It reveals what dwells within. If the eyes are generous, the whole body is filled with light. But if they're consumed by envy and greed, darkness takes over. The purity of a gaze comes from a clean heart, from someone who sees the world with compassion, not competition. The Chosen One teaches that seeing with love is in itself a daily miracle. It's fascinating to notice how the gaze changes when someone begins to walk in faith. What once sparked envy now inspires. Another's success stops being a threat and becomes a sign of God's goodness. The inner light begins to shine when the heart learns to celebrate rather than compare. This light illuminates paths, draws people closer, and transforms environments. Those who cultivate a pure gaze become a beacon for those still living in darkness. And from this light emerges something even more powerful, the living practice of generosity, the visible reflection of this inner illumination. There's an indescribable beauty in the life of someone who gives without expecting return. Generosity is like a flame that ignites others, spreading warmth wherever it goes. Jesus shows that true light doesn't come from words, but from actions that spring from the heart. When someone chooses generosity, they draw the very brilliance of heaven. And it doesn't matter the size of the gesture. A offered coffee, attentive listening, a timely embrace, all of these are divine light in action. It's God's love taking human form, illuminating corners once forgotten. Being generous is living as someone who has already understood life's purpose. It's trusting that there will always be enough, because the Creator is abundant and faithful. The person who shares without fear becomes an instrument of the very miracle they pray to see. Their light spreads through family, work, friendships, and without even realizing it, they guide others closer to God. That's the difference between shining and burning. Those who shine illuminate, while those who burn consume themselves. And for those who close their heart to the light, Jesus reveals the other side of this journey, the weight of the evil eye and the darkness it brings. Some live surrounded by things yet feel empty inside. Jesus calls this the evil eye, a gaze that sees the world through the lens of lack. It's the kind of person who never feels they have enough, even when they have plenty. This greed, disguised as prudence, slowly extinguishes the spirit's light. Inner darkness arises when the heart closes, when envy replaces gratitude and fear takes faith's place. The problem isn't seeing too little, it's seeing distortedly, and the result is a life that seems abundant but overflows with nothing. Those guided by the evil eye don't realize how much they isolate themselves. They're always competing, comparing, accumulating, and losing sight of what's essential. The darkness Jesus speaks of isn't physical, it's spiritual. It's the distance from God's light. And the more someone tries to fill the void with possessions, the larger the void grows. The way out isn't having more, but turning back to faith, opening the heart and letting the light return. And when that light returns, what seemed like scarcity transforms into abundance. This is where Jesus reveals the liberating truth about the world God created. Jesus concludes this teaching with a powerful revelation. The world wasn't created for lack, but for fullness. God made everything with purpose and balance. The earth yields fruit, the sun warms, the rain nourishes. Abundance is everywhere. It's fear that creates scarcity, not divine reality. When the human heart awakens to this truth, it stops living by the logic of having to be and begins to experience being to overflow. Faith opens the mind to see what was always there, God's care sustaining everything. Living in this abundance doesn't mean ignoring difficulties, but facing them with confidence. Those who believe give, those who trust share, those who understand live lightly. Generosity becomes natural because there's no longer fear of lack. There's certainty that the Creator's love is inexhaustible. This is the end, and at the same time, the beginning of a new way of existing, a life guided by light, faith, and the awareness of being a chosen one. And in this communion with God, the soul finds true wealth, the kind that neither time nor the world can erase.